back to the Vinyl Word Podcast. As always, I'm Steve Beach.
And I'm Brian Mayer. Hello.
And I'm Eric Evans. Hi.
And
I'm Cameron Beach.
Our lovely producer. I want to welcome everybody back and thank you for continuing to listen. You can follow us on Facebook at the Vinyl Word Podcast, and you can also email us at vinylword22@gmail.com. The reason why we have 22 in there is because we started in the year 2022.
Right. And I also want to say that we just recently have jumped into the modern age. We now have a MySpace page, and we have a physical P.O. box that you can send
that's
letters
awesome.
to.
Yeah. Oh, and a new thing. We also have an AOL address.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like nothing but the best.
That's right.
If you're going to reach us, you better reach us 30 years ago.
Right, exactly.
I still play Frisbee with those AOL discs.
Yeah.
I just use those for target practice.
Skeet shooting.
Coasters. They were coasters in my house.
Yeah, coasters. Absolutely. Heck, could be online for 5 hours for free.
You've got age.
So whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon, whatever, there is a little link that says text us that's just above these episode summaries. So you can tap that and you can send us a text and let us know what you think. Just say hi, whatever. So.
All right. So, Steve, what do we have on the docket
So
for
we
today?
are on side 2 of Earl Goldsmith.
Mm-hmm.
And today he's going to actually talk with you to your son about sex.
Yes, and there are a few things in life that are more rewarding than staring deep into the soul of your child
Right.
as you watch it, like instead of blooming like a flower, it goes in reverse.
Right.
As they turn
just-
into themselves
Right.
and farther emotionally, as far away from you as they can become.
Yeah. But, as always, before we get into that, let's check in with our good friend Charlie Cutler.
It seems to me that...
Ooh.
Oh,
What up,
hello,
Chuck?
this is Charlie Cutler.
You know, he's not
Let's
from
just
Philly, because
talk
otherwise he'd be Charlie
about this.
Cutlets.
It seems to me that there's very little in this world that's in this world to stay. When I was an inquisitive boy...
He doesn't
back
ask
home,
questions
I
anymore.
had it
Before the
all
weight of
figured
the
out.
world crushed my spirit and
Stars
desire to
were
know.
the only things that would never change, but our high school principal knew better. Professor Robert A. Beerley, his name was. He told me that there were always new stars
Like
being
Channing
born.
Tatum.
Yeah.
That some of the old
Mr.
stars
Rogers.
were gradually dying. And he really startled me by saying that the Big Dipper would eventually change its shape.
Like into the
Naturally,
big
I
measuring
wanted
cup.
to know when, and
Right.
he said it wouldn't be in my lifetime or even in 2 or 3 lifetimes, but maybe in a couple of 100,000 years, the Big Dipper would
After
be
Keith
badly
Richards
dented,
dies.
to say the least. I
That's
had
so
to know
silly.
why, and
He
told
can't.
me. He said that some of the stars in the Big Dipper were moving one way and some were
Like
moving
Dancing
the
with
other
the
way.
Stars.
And then he said that someday far off, all the astronomy books would have to be
The
rewritten
astrology books will still be fine,
and
because they're
rewritten
garbage.
again. That was something I never forgot. And since that time, I've done a lot of thinking about how even stars...
Like Channing
fade to
Tatum.
nothing.
Yep, exactly.
But I'm not the only one.
Like Justin Bieber.
It seems to me many people wonder if there isn't something in life that is
Taxes.
permanent.
Death.
Something to depend
What is
on.
with you
Of
guys?
course there is.
Trying to bring
That's
levity to the
something worth
world.
considering, isn't it?
Hey, we're just speaking truth.
I'm just bringing levy taxes.
Yes, we're on Earl Goldsmith's side too. So, if we're all ready, let's drop a needle and get this going.
Absolutely.
I think it's terrific that we can have this chat together, young men.
You're not my real
The
dad.
next few minutes should prove very helpful as we think about you and the people around you. I hope we
Naked.
can answer some questions. However, I'm just as interested in raising questions in your mind so that you'll seek the right answers from proper sources elsewhere. I've already talked to your parents.
You naughty
They want
little
to help
boy.
you, I'm sure, and together we are anxious to discuss some very important matters.
Like, who
Perhaps I should
farted?
tell you that
I think
our
it was
subject
Cameron.
is not as mysterious as it may seem. Boys have been growing up and becoming men for as long as we
90s
can
bands.
remember. And men become fathers just as the girls become women, who in turn become mothers. It's that simple.
Is it though?
When boys come to see me, one of the first questions I ask
Can you
is,
close the door
you know why
behind
you're
you?
here? Some boys come because their parents do not understand their behavior. Sometimes a visit has to do with poor school grades. Often a boy's attitude causes concern. The reason I brought this to your attention Our little get-together has to do with a very special subject.
Heroin.
Mother and
No,
Dad might have
no.
a high-sounding name for it. Let us call it What a Boy Should Know About
Or
Life
intercourse.
and Love.
Coitus.
Now then, what may
the
we
wheelbarrow.
expect to accomplish together? First, we shall be sharing information about you. Things that deal with you now and as you grow up to be a man.
Like taxes.
Second,
Not again,
we're going to
Eric,
look
please.
at feelings you experience. Some may help, and some of these feelings may hinder.
Nothing more
The
than
helping experiences we want to grow,
feelings.
while the experiences that don't help, we want to stay low.
Ooh, 50s rap was
I hope
bad.
you're ready for us
That's
to
just
name
called
some very
Motown.
important
Or
parts
No
of your
Town.
body, explain where you came from as a baby, and understand what
rhymes
are
with
some of the
vagina.
differences between boys
Angina?
and girls.
Moving on.
When you were younger, you may have asked questions such as, where do the hospitals get the babies they give to people?
Amazon.
Or what does
Babies
being
are us.
born mean? Why do people have to go to the
You can
hospital
be
when
born
they have
again, my
babies?
brother.
Could I have a baby?
Sure.
Well, maybe
I mean,
you
if you
didn't ask
want,
your question
right.
in these exact words, but you did wonder. And every
Like
time
Stevie.
you thought about babies and life, you were wanting to learn.
Wrong.
And every time you asked a question about these things, you were really learning. Even when you didn't get an answer, you were learning.
To shut up.
Perhaps this taught you not to ask again, or you may have thought your question was not nice.
It was naughty.
You ever wondered why girls are so different, or what the world would be like if we were all boys and men? You may be thinking, boy, that would be great.
That'd be
Now, as fine as that might seem,
fabulous.
son, we have to face the fact that there are girls and women. They are here to stay, and we're going to have to get along with them.
Oh, see, also.
First of all, God made us
misogyny.
as we are. God made us to be men and women so that we might have a special way to express our love for each other and be able to have children. Now, it's true that animals have babies, but
And we
they
eat
aren't
them.
able to love as we can.
Yeah,
So you
my
see,
dogs are
one of
so
these days,
standoffish.
you'll grow up to be a man. And there
Oh,
are
that's a
many
different Neil
exciting
Diamond
things
song.
that a man can do as a husband and a father. Sometimes we talk about certain parts of our bodies. When we discuss eating,
Stomach,
we think
bowels,
of the mouth, throat, and stomach. And these are easy words to remember.
like uvula.
When it comes
What
to
is
talking about having
happening right
babies
now?
and becoming a father, two kinds of words are sometimes used.
And they start with
Words
O-S.
I'm going to use are the proper ones.
No.
The important
Steve?
parts of your body as a boy are not all seen on the outside.
Oh,
Here is a
my.
list of some of the important words used to describe these important parts.
don't.
Please don't.
Penis,
Oh, no.
testicles,
Wicked, stop.
urethra, semen, bladder, and seminal vesicle
Like the
and
Indians?
duct. But what do these organs do?
Ooh, bad
Your
accompaniment,
body is like a
mainly.
manufacturing plant in producing
Your body
materials.
is a
There are substances that are
wonderland.
waste products, while others are useful.
Like the human race.
The grown-up male body is capable of producing sperm cells in the testicles, and when these cells travel from the testicles to the penis, they mix with a fluid called semen.
From Yemen.
When a
In
father
sevens.
and mother mate,
Then to the penis.
this seminal fluid carries thousands of sperm cells from the father's body into the mother's body.
And sometimes other
Everything
places.
happens according to
Oh.
nature. A male sperm cell unites with a female ovum or egg, and a baby begins to grow inside the mother. 9 months later, a baby is born.
Yay, a
And
tax
perhaps
deduction.
you already know how exciting it is to have a new baby sister or brother.
Sure.
Remember, I
Someone
said
else
the
to
body
bully.
is like a manufacturing plant. The same tube or urethra that carries the life-producing sperm also expels the urine or fluid waste products out of the bladder.
Hashtag
Make
double
certain
trouble.
you understand the difference between the origin and purpose of each of these fluids.
No.
They should
Oh.
not be confused with each other just because they come out of the penis.
I like a penis with a cream sauce.
You may have
What?
seen a puppy or a kitten grow into a full-sized dog or cat.
Or a xenomorph.
Change was very gradual. In the same way, boys slowly change into men. And as you grow up, you can see certain things happening to you.
Yeah, you can.
And feel things happening.
And man,
However,
is it
time
awkward.
doesn't permit me to share everything you will experience.
Like bondage or
First,
shame.
you will notice
Same thing.
hair starting to grow under your arms and around your private parts.
What's that called?
That
Your
later.
penis and testicles will also grow larger.
Thanks, Viagra.
Remember, every boy does not develop at the same time or exactly in the same way.
And thus,
As you
bullying
begin
was
to
born.
develop into a man, the body starts to make the semen we've been talking about. There are times when this fluid will appear automatically.
So have
When
a
this
change of
happens
clothes
during the
handy.
It may be
Andy.
referred to as a wet dream. The proper
During the
term
day,
is
it's called
seminal
indecent
emission.
exposure.
One of the most important questions a boy like you can ask is, when I grow up and get married, will I become a father?
Paternity test
Of course, the
pending.
answer is yes. And you must understand that every baby has to have a father and a mother.
Thanks, Maury
One of the
Povich.
reasons why a child needs parents is because God wanted him to be loved. And so when you get older, you'll get
You won't
married
get it
because
anymore.
you are in love. And because of that love, you'll be able to be a father. In the meantime, what am I to do with these feelings about sex, you may ask?
Cry about it.
First of all, you are not to act as if these feelings are not real. You should be able to freely discuss these feelings with your parents.
Nuts.
Secondly, these feelings should be as good as they can be. It is when normal sex feelings are considered bad that
normal
we
sex
start
feelings.
thinking wrong things.
You ever
Third,
seen the movie
try
Free
to
Willy?
understand what these feelings are. In other words, what is really happening inside of me as I grow up. Perhaps this is not easy for you to understand yet,
But once you get
but
drunk
a person
enough,
is helped to get a sense of what he himself is through what he feels his body is. Our first responsibility, then, is to God as Creator.
the Transformer.
Use our bodies in the way He intended cannot
In a
help but
mirror.
make us happy. All the beautiful things in the world have been given to us to enjoy. You have been placed in this world to be part of this enjoyment.
That's what's on his
You
office
see,
door.
son,
No.
your
Pass,
life has been
hard
given
pass.
to you as a sacred trust. You're held responsible for it. This also means that you should take care of your body.
Well, I failed.
Remember we discussed
Me
the
too.
reason God gave you parents?
For
One
guilt
reason
and
was
shame.
that you might have someone to love you.
Ooh, oh,
Out of
that's
that
Tinder.
reason, because you are loved, they take care of you. Now then, what do mother and dad have a right to ask?
Anxiety.
You
Regret.
should look up
It
to
sure
them.
isn't money.
That's called respect. You should love them.
I don't get no
and out of
respect.
this love should come a desire to obey.
Ooh, what is free
First
speech,
commandment
Alex?
with promise says, honor
let
thy
it go.
father and mother.
Let it go.
But that's something
Now, if all
else.
this sounds hard to do, this third responsibility will help you with the others. I often have boys come in to see me in my office. During one of these counseling sessions,
How many
a
boys
boy
are coming
is
in his
asked, How do
office?
you see yourself?
Too many, Steve.
What kind of a boy are you?
Well,
What you think about yourself, you see, is very important. If you see yourself as a bad person, you'll want to do bad things.
oh, you
If
have
you see
no
yourself as a
idea,
good
Earl.
person, you'll have a desire to do good things. I'm always glad when a boy looks in the full-length mirror and says,
Yeah,
"That's the
because
best
all
kid
boys
I've
have
seen all
full-length
day."
mirrors,
Now,
right?
suppose you feel as if you've done something wrong. Discuss this with your parents if you are able. They should be able to help you think through your problem.
Or ground you.
Although we've talked about love and mating, it is important to know how you were born.
This position was
Start
No.
with the husband and wife,
No.
your father and mother. Because they love each other and are married, they can
Ooh, if they
express
weren't
their love
married,
for each
don't
other
ask.
in a very special way. This is
Yeah,
called
your mom
mating.
was involved.
Before you were born, your father provided a cell.
Phone.
We called it a male sperm cell. And your mother produced an ovum or female egg cell.
So which one is it?
These two cells mated, you started to grow. Perhaps your parents could show you some pictures. Of
When did
how
they have
a
time
baby
for
grows.
that?
Why is it
Carried you inside
L-shaped?
of her, the lower stomach where she carried you.
Placenta,
During the
stomach,
time
whatever.
before you were born, she visited the
He skipped through
doctor
all the good
many
parts.
times.
Yeah.
Each visit, mother made during her pregnancy. That's what those 9 months are called.
Hell.
Each visit, the doctor told her how to take care of you.
And also
When it
encourage her to
came
lose
close
all
to the
that
time
weight.
for your arrival, special care was taken to look after you and
And
mother.
so much screaming,
The doctor
too.
explained that mother would feel you moving inside her.
Child or
Also
dad?
said to
Zing!
be watching for the feelings that would show you were soon to be born.
Recommended movies
These feelings
are Alien,
came,
The
Dad
Fly,
rushed
and
mother to the
Rosemary's Baby.
hospital.
Right
Doctor
after the
was
game,
there,
though.
and the nurses, and after a while, a nurse came out to the hospital room where your dad was waiting and said,
You're
"It's
not
a boy."
black? We should talk.
Well, God intended that this event and all that happens along with it should be exciting. And it will be for you, too, when you fall in love, get married, and become a father.
And if it happens
You
in
must
reverse, that's
follow
called a shotgun
the
wedding.
rules. You realize, of course, that there are rules for playing baseball, basketball, football, and hockey.
Ooh, and foosball.
Break the rules, and you are disqualified. That means your
Penalized.
team may lose, or
He said
perhaps
penal.
you'll not be allowed to play the game again. The game of life and
By
love
Milton
is
Bradley.
serious, too. Life should be serious because God made us so that we can live in 3 connected ways. The part of your life that you live with your body is called physical. The part of your life you live with your mind is called emotional or mental.
Oh, there's all
The
kinds of
remaining
mental
part
in my
is the
family.
religious
Yeah,
or
mine too.
spiritual part of you. Each of these parts must be taken care of. You have to feed your body every day with food. You feed your mind with the things you see, hear, and experience. It is also necessary to take care of your spiritual appetite, too.
So get on your
And
knees
you want to grow up
and
to be a good person.
pray.
This means you have accepted a good goal for all three parts of your life. And whether you reach this goal depends on how you use your body, mind, and spirit. Certainly, you're old enough to know that some people are not very happy.
Yeah, I've been
One
to
way for
family
you to be happy
reunions.
now is to realize that you can and will reach good goals in your life when
maybe.
you grow up. One day, you will have to make up your mind concerning your position in life.
Well, that's when you change
This involves a
positions.
school goal, and the subjects you learn will help to carry you towards success. You will also face a decision about your church or religious life.
Buddhism,
This has
cynicism.
to do with your spiritual success. And how you think about yourself, your family, neighbors, and friends will enable you to decide upon the goals which will help you to grow into a fine man.
What a mighty fine
Now,
man.
dreams for the future may
mighty
only
good
come
man.
true when you accept limits. Everyone knows you only get 3 strikes or 4 balls in a game
Mutation.
of baseball.
Yeah.
Suppose you were playing with someone who wanted an extra strike or ball. Wouldn't be much fun playing, would it? The rules for
Play with an extra
baseball have
ball?
already been written,
I probably
and
have fun
so
with
have
that.
the rules for life. This is the place to remind you, then, that there is a difference between striking out and being put out of the game.
Or putting out.
We've said something about feeding the body, but if you stuff yourself with food, any kind of food, you'll get sick.
Like gluten.
If you eat only one kind of food, you will not get all the vitamins of a well-balanced diet.
Like Twinkies.
Son, do you see what I'm driving at? There are rules
You understand
for
the
everything
words
we
that are
do.
coming out of my mouth?
When I feed my mind only with sex, then my life becomes unbalanced.
But fun.
You are more interested in sex than a person your age ought to be. You
Perv.
can become mentally and sometimes even physically sick.
Thanks,
But what if
bulimia.
I don't want to accept limits, as you call them? What then, you might answer?
Yeah.
Perhaps I could give you another illustration. Your father has an automobile.
Good for
If he
him.
drives it as fast as a new car can go, it might be able to go 100 miles per hour
Yeah, this
or
just means
even
he's
more.
compensating.
On the
Hey,
dash
I got
of
a new
late
car.
model cars, it reads
Oh, no.
120 miles an hour. Let's say the car can go that speed. Your father starts to drive down your street when suddenly he comes to a sign that says, stop. On another street, a
says,
sign
"Slow kids
says,
at
slow
play."
down, or curve, or drive carefully. Now, here's the chance we've been waiting for.
Those
Your
kids are
father is out
bowling
on one of the
pins.
new interstate highways. But even here, he has to drive by the rules. 70 miles an hour on the open road, 25 to 45 miles on the ramps getting on or off the highway.
90 miles in a school
If your
zone.
father refused to accept the rules for driving, his license will be taken away, and with it,
blaze
his freedom to drive an automobile. It
And
is
then man
not
created
sufficient to
Uber.
know about life and love and sex. You must also know what to do with what you know.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Know what I
Here
mean? Know
then
what
is
I mean?
an opportunity to practice what I've been
Say no
telling
more.
you. The proper names of the sexual parts of a female body are
La, 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 la,
uterus,
la, la, la.
cervix, fallopian tube, and ovary. The female sexual
like
organs are
overreacting.
unlike the male sexual organs in that they are all inside the body. Again, a simple picture that your parents can provide will help you to understand what we are considering.
No.
Nearly everyone can picture the shape of a cow's head as you look at it in the front. This is the shape of the uterus.
So it has
Ears of the
horns and
cow
chews
are in
cud?
the same place
It's chewing
as the
something.
fallopian tubes. Of course, I must say that the uterus is much smaller than a cow's head.
I would hope
At the
so.
tip of each ear or fallopian tube, there is an ovary in which the female egg cells are stored.
Like the fridge at a
Once a
grocery
month,
store.
One egg cell leaves one of the ovaries and descends into one of the fallopian tubes.
Whee!
Where a male sperm cell and female egg cell meet. This is called fertilization. It takes
Sperm.
only one sperm cell
Nice to
to fertilize
meet
the
you.
egg cell. And the fertilized egg cell continues down into the uterus, where it fastens itself to the wall of the uterus and grows into a baby. A picture or sketch of these parts will help to make this clear. When the baby is ready to be born, it passes out at
From
the
too
bottom
much
of the
booze.
uterus through the opening called the cervix into the vagina.
Oh,
The
no
baby
joke
comes
here.
out through the
This is
vagina
cervixes.
into the world, and this process is known as birth or being born.
From
When
womb
two
to
egg cells
room.
are fertilized by two sperm cells, then unlike twins are born. Twins that look alike are born from a single egg and sperm cell that forms into two parts exactly alike.
Like an alien.
Now you know the real
like
reason
Arnold
why
and Danny
girls are
DeVito.
to be treated
Right.
differently than boys. At the very moment of birth, each girl has all the organs with which to become a mother. But you might say that father business is a long way off, too far in the future to even think about.
So I won't.
And I guess you're right. But the future is always taken care of by today.
And
Be
tomorrow
a
becomes
proper
today,
person
which
today,
makes today become
every day,
yesterday.
And when you
It all
grow
makes
up,
sense
you'll
now.
be the right kind of a man. Meanwhile, back to the rules
Meanwhile, in the Legion of
again. In a
Doom.
race, no one ever won without believing he could win and having a real desire to be a winner. As your parents believe in you, they will trust you.
They shouldn't.
No.
While they cannot see
No.
everything you do, they do their best to help you with the rules. Perhaps the two most important things your mother and father can offer is,
Guilt and shame.
first, to be an example by following adult rules, and secondly, to be available whenever you have a question about your own feelings and behavior.
Like, why am I
What I'm
afraid of
talking about is
clowns?
really family education, where each member of the home knows his part in the game of life,
Are you a
believes in
peg
himself,
or a hole?
other
That's
members of his
cribbage.
family, and accepts the guidelines laid
Thank
down
goodness it's
by the
cribbage.
family for himself. Our talk today would be incomplete without a section on how to
Whew.
take care
Glad you said section.
of certain problems. Sometimes it seems as if growing up is one long continuing problem.
And he's right
And
again.
you're right again. As a matter of fact, life is a succession of problems. But that's not so bad. Not when you realize
Unless
that
you
every
have
one of us
depression.
is capable of facing our problems and with help from others can certainly find the answers. Take the problem of girls.
I bet Earl's
Boys
never
at a
been
certain
married.
age generally
think he's
can't
dated.
stand the
Yeah,
opposite
probably
sex.
not.
Girls don't play rough games. They're not as noisy, and besides, they
This guy's
often
never
spoil
met
the
my
fun
daughter.
that
No,
boys
no,
are
he has
enjoying.
not.
If you sense this now, you should know that your feeling toward girls will change.
Maybe.
Gradually, you will become interested in how girls look, what they do, and what they say. Instead of being only with boys, you will discover suddenly the gang includes girls.
When
you're
you're
a
a
jet, you're a
jet all the
It may not
way.
always be the same one. And finally, something will tell you that a very special girl should be your girl, and she will be your bride. These
Maria, I
thoughts
just
cover
met
many
a
years, but this is
girl.
the story of the average boy's life.
That's
What
a great
should my
magazine.
attitude be toward girls now, you may ask? I have a translation here with me that says, you should treat a girl as you would want her to treat you.
Yeah, good save,
This
Earl.
means you should treat
Does
the
he
opposite
really need
sex
a
with
magazine to
respect.
tell him that?
I think
And
that's
this
from.
holds true when you
Oh,
get
that-
older.
Never mind.
It will have a very special meaning when you're old enough to have physical contact with the opposite sex. But even this skin-to-skin effect will not be enough to act any way you please. Of course, I don't expect you'll understand everything that I'm saying today.
No habla
Later,
English,
You
Sparky.
will find these suggestions worth their weight in gold. Most important for today, respect the opposite sex no matter what age that person might be. Treat her as you want to be treated. In other words, keep your hands off the girls.
Your feet are
While
just
we've
fine.
been talking about the game of life,
Wait, we've been
this
talking about
matter
board
of
game this whole
living
time?
Yep,
and
I think so.
behaving is not a game.
He didn't mention the
It's
spinner,
really
though.
life, and this is a sacred trust given to you by God. Earlier facts stated that because a girl will ultimately become a mother,
It's the
she
facts
should
of
be
life.
protected. And regardless of the behavior of others, this is your responsibility toward all members of the opposite sex.
Protect women from violence.
At the beginning
With
of our
violence if
session
needed.
today, we talked about the body, the soul, and the spirit. Needless to say, you should take care of all
But
three.
he said it anyway.
The body should be kept clean. Regular habits that include the bathtub and soap will take care of this. Curiosity concerning your body and its functions are normal as long as that curiosity
drop the
doesn't
soap.
lead to harm. When you have questions, as already suggested, ask your parents.
Or don't.
If you don't get a satisfactory answer, ask them again.
And again,
If you still are
and
not
again,
satisfied,
and
Go to an
again.
adult that you respect. Your minister should be able to help you here.
Oh, how touching.
But what about your
Bad
mind?
wording.
To concentrate on a single subject, any subject, will tend to make life to be unbalanced. This is certainly true if you think constantly about sex.
And I do.
Good reading material, good conversations, and good thoughts make for a proper outlook on life.
I have the
Think
latest
about
version of
sexual
Outlook.
things
Will
as
that help
not
me?
dirty unless you make them so.
Done.
If you have the problem of improper thoughts, they can be handled in part again
By
by
going to
asking
your room.
questions and also by giving your attention to something wholesome.
Like Georgia
This
O'Keeffe
will direct
paintings.
your mind towards something else.
Or Jackson Pollock.
Remember, as a boy thinketh, so is he.
Oh, Dolph
When you
King.
think straight, you'll go and grow straight.
Some
Your
50s.
parents
Even
are
the
the most
thoughts
important
are
people in your
straight.
life until you have a home of your own. Remember, God intended every boy to have a father and a mother to take care of him. They are much wiser and more experienced than you are. Take their advice.
Their car.
And
They're
their
thinking
money.
of what's best for you. When they lay down rules and regulations, they do this
Rebel.
because they
They
love
also
you
lay down dope
and
beats.
want to do
but
what's
that's
best for
something else.
you. Share your ideas and feelings with Dad and Mother. In return, you can expect understanding, acceptance, and love, which simply means you'll really enjoy life.
I mean,
Well, son,
probably?
we've covered a lot of material together. My final word
so
to you
sorry.
is on the subject of love.
Yeah.
Real love is putting the other person's needs first. If you love your pet, you don't starve him. You feed him.
Unless they're
If
mice.
you love yourself, you'll take care of yourself.
You feed them.
This holds
What?
true for every member
Eric?
of your family. Perhaps you're not old enough to understand this fully yet. But even people
still don't
outside your
understand it.
family need love and understanding.
Just kidding. They're
The kind
not.
of love they wish to see is the kind of love you've been learning since you were born. When you were very small, you showed
so
your love as
small.
only a baby can. In your preteen years, you will love in still a different way.
Hugging and crying.
This
Crying and hugging.
continually changes until you are a grown man. Maybe you know a boy who wants to hurt, who says biting things,
Like pillows.
and acts as if he hates everyone. That boy, earlier in life, got off the track.
A
He
little.
missed the step from taking to giving, from accepting love to
Listens
giving
to
love,
emo, writes
from
poetry.
biting to kissing.
Yeah, he probably just
This
became a cop.
illustrates that
Yeah.
real love is not getting but giving. And giving always makes you think of someone else. Unselfish love is the desire to give, to share, to do something for others. I trust in the years to come, you'll remember the things we discussed together
Yeah,
on the
emotional
subject of
trauma.
life and love. May God bless you as you discover that both life and love are very satisfying.
Yeah, and what's more satisfying than talking about a record about sex?
Wait, seriously?
Remember childhood? Playing for hours, sandwiches, and milk and cookies? Those were the days. And how about adulthood? Money, freedom, and the joy of watching your own children grow? Those days are pretty good too. But the days between those 2 points are a larval stage, where your body rebels against both God and man, where you suddenly smell like dirty socks and grow new and unmanageable hair in special places. Oh, and your body makes more oil than buried beneath the golden sands of Saudi Arabia. And yes, playing connect the dots with your acne as your mind struggles desperately to focus on anything other than sex. And all of this while your voice sounds like a rusty gate hinge in a windstorm. Yeah, you can have those years back. I don't want them. No one does.
The following was brought to you by puberty.
Puberty.
So that record is like one of the, we use this word loosely, toughest to listen to.
Yeah.
Especially like on round two because, you know, we have, I think you and I, Brian, since we did this the first time, we have a little bit of PTSD as we're listening to it.
Right. Yeah, like it's less PTSD and more just like trauma echoes occasionally. He'll say something and I'm like, no.
But it's just that the line about women are here, we're just going to have to learn to live with them.
Yeah.
Do
Darn.
we have to?
Right.
That's the way I make it sounds.
Women, you can't live with them? Moving on?
Next.
I will defend Earl to some degree because he was trying to fix a problem. He was
And
being
Brian's alone.
He was being noble. Okay, one of the things he talks about is that there are three facets to people: physical, spiritual, and mental. This is good. There's more than just the physical. Like there really is. And so it's good that he's trying to address it. The way he's addressing it is specious.
Yeah,
in
no,
many
definitely.
ways.
The way, I mean, he had good intentions until he started talking.
Yes. Yeah. And once the word started leaving the mouth part of his face,
Right,
yeah,
that's-
it all started.
It went downhill from there.
Yeah. from there.
Yeah, it went downhill into pear-shaped real fast. He was trying, and I don't want to. I don't want to disparage that part.
I know, yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for listening.
No, as a reminder, and this record is an excellent case point for this. Not all records should be collected. Thank you.
The Final Word podcast is written by Brian Mayer, Steve Beach, and Eric Evans. It's produced by Steve Beach and Cameron Beach. The Vinyl Word Podcast is hosted and distributed by Buzzsprout.